Do you like timeless classics?
Yes.
Are you looking for curated designer vintage?
I am actually.
You are? You guys are in the market?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I have some breaking news for you.
Spill.
Look no further than Funny Girl Vintage, your go-to destination for curated, one-of-a-kind vintage pieces that'll have you looking and feeling amazing. And they have a showroom in Culver City. You can book your one-on-one style consultation at funnygirlvintage.com or on their Instagram at funnygirlvintage. And guess what, ladies?
What?
For our podcast listeners, you can get 10% off using the code NIGHT.
How do you spell that?
NIGHT for 10% off. And we thank Funny Girl Vintage for sponsoring this episode. Well, welcome back to Night School. I'm Jessie Zand.
I'm Alana Cloud Robinson.
And Izzy is on vacation today, aka doing school. So she's out of the office
She's
today.
out in real school.
She's out. Yeah, she's actually doing real school. Shout out to her for getting into multiple schools that she applied to. We are not going to name them because she says that she wants to be mysterious going to college.
That's
but
fair.
We're very proud of her, and she will be returning soon. But in the meantime, you have the resident 2 over here, and we also have a super fan with us today, part of our 7% male audience here, Chris. Woo! Give it up for Chris.
How's it going, everyone? Stoked to be here.
We needed some validity to the fact that we actually do have male listeners. He actually provided some dating questions that we're gonna pop into and answer, but like, in order for it to not just seem like it was just me and Alana being like, I wonder what the male mind thinks.
Yeah.
We needed actually someone of the male gender here. No offense, Keida. Honestly, Keida, to your
Don't be honestly. Just get on your podcast.
Hey, I get to be the token male audience here. Just me.
honestly, if you were asking us this question, it'd be a little weird.
What's the question?
There are multiple questions. Never. We're gonna get into it. But first, just to warm us up, how was your weekend? What have we been up to? Oh, you were on a book panel. We should talk about that.
Yes, I was. I was a panelist speaker at the LA Times Festival of Books. I was very nervous and made it very difficult to cohabitate with me for my boyfriend for the days leading up to it, because I was having like a massive existential crisis. I was like, I'm an idiot, and like I didn't go to college. What am I doing with my life? Like truly like hit every possible rung of the ladder of like, I'm a piece of shit. No one's going to listen to me.
Aww.
And then it was like the most amazing day of my life. It was so nice.
Insert the photo of Hannah Brown looking longingly and lovingly at Alana on this panel, which was truly iconic.
Oh yeah, I did. When I got there, so I Googled everyone's books, but I didn't look up the authors, like their faces.
This is so facial blindness coded, by the way.
Because it was like, what's the point? It was like, what's the point? I'm not going to remember anyone's face anyway. And then I walked over to the line of like where they were leading the panelists from like the green room, and it was Hannah Brown from The Bachelor, and I'm a huge Bachelorette fan. I don't really fangirl over celebrities unless it's like reality TV. The only times I've really freaked out is when I've seen like Chet Hanks and like a reality TV star, to be honest.
That's the threshold. Chet Hanks and Hannah Brown.
Yeah.
What was it like talking to her in like the
She
back
was really
room?
sweet.
Yeah.
She was super sweet, super nice. I think it's so impressive that they all get platforms from being on The Bachelor. The fact that she used her platform to become a writer, I think is so cool. I'm biased as a writer, but I just think that's like incredibly cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a new angle too for the Bachelorette star. Like I can't think of anyone
that's writing books.
writing books.
She's written like, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like 2 or 3 books that she has, like a third one on the way. Really amazing. But it was really funny. We were sitting on the panel next to each other and we were chatting, and I was like, play it cool. And then she was like, yeah, she was just talking about like the process of becoming a writer. And she was like, I was on this, it's on the show. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bachelor. And I was like, yes. I was like, I am familiar. And I was like, I love you. And then she was like, oh, so sweet. And then I was like, rein it in.
You're like trying to get a lock of her hair.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I'm not a danger to you. I promise.
Like,
yeah, no, literally. So, but she was really, really, really nice. And then it was really sweet at the end. I said goodbye to her, and she was like, I got sent your book. It's on my stack. So she's like, I'm going to read it. It was very, very sweet.
she's gonna hit you up and be, what if she's a super fan of you?
Please. It would
Come
heal
on our
me.
podcast, Hannah.
It would heal me. Hannah Brown.
It was funny too, as you guys were doing like the book signing, like you guys were sat next to each other, and me and Izzy were like behind. It was like there was like a clear sheath behind you.
Yeah.
And I'm like behind you, and I'm like, oh, go get the fucking bad guys. I gotta write the bad guys.
I just didn't want to swarm her because she was being. I felt. I mean, this weird guy came over. That was like one thing that happened. This weird guy walked over. It was like he got some girl in line to ask if she would take a picture with her. So this guy with Hannah, but he seemed like he was like this girl's dad because he was standing in line. And he kind of gave me a weird vibe because he was like really just intently watching her. And I tried to smile at him like, hi, I read a book too. And then he wouldn't even look at me. And I was like, okay, whatever, fine, rude. And then he came over to her and the girl was like, he asked me to take a picture with you. So I'm going to do that really quick. And Hannah was like, what? And then he leaned in and he was like, do you like patio furniture? And she was like, yeah. And then he took the photo and walked away. And she was very like, and the girl, like, bless her, but I was like, don't ever do a favor for a strange man. Say, I'm not comfortable with that. Because then the girl was like, thank you so much. Like, he asked me to take a picture. And Hannah was like, oh, okay. Like, it was like very like.
Yeah, meanwhile, he's like, will you sign this photo of your feet?
Yeah, it was like really alarming. It was very alarming that, and I felt really, but I was like, God damn, like, that must be really difficult. Like what, like writers don't typically have to deal with those things. So you're trying to have a career as an, it's not even like, if you're on reality TV and like that's what you're doing, then I guess it comes with the territory. But if you are trying to become a writer and you're like, this is what I'm doing now, and you have freaky men being like, I saw you on TV. Like, that's so
also too, like,
irritating.
within the romance genre too, that must be also
romance genre. You're on a love-centered show, like parasocial, freaky shit.
Yeah, like,
no, this guy was probably in his 60s.
Yeah, that's
that was the thing that it was like,
really
it was really scary, but I felt for her. She's a very sweet person.
And she reposted our photo of you guys.
Yes.
I was like, I'm shipping this friendship. Insert the photo here. I'm shipping this friendship so hard. And like, she reposted it. I was like, what a sweetheart. I love that. Women supporting women.
The funny thing too was like, as you saw on the panel, was like things were getting like raunchy. Like the questions were getting raunchy. I did write a romance, but like, I feel like talking super, super openly about sex and sexuality is something that like I feel like I did a lot when I was younger, but like now I have become a little bit more reserved in myself. And it was just hilarious because I felt like the other two girls on the panel were being like really funny and a lot more like open about stuff. And Hannah was like, I'm clutching my pearls. And I was like, girl, me too. It was really funny. I was like, I felt some camaraderie with
honestly, bring back sexual repression. This is like my hot take. Is like, we need some more decorum. Like, I'm really tired. Like, I don't care.
Cover them ankles, girl.
Yeah, cover them ankles. Like, I'm tired of.
Have you ever seen my wrists on this show? No.
Like, I'm tired of hearing about who you fuck, what you fuck, how you fuck. Like, I don't care as long as it's not kids and dogs. Like we can just stop talking about it. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm so over it. Like, free love, whatever, but like, don't.
Hashtag keep it to yourself movement.
Thank you. Like,
no more freeing anything.
No more freeing
free
anything.
the nip, jail the nip. No more. No more of any of it.
No more of any of it. I'm tired of it. Like, do you know how many times I have to go to shows and open mics and I'm hearing like about like your husband's penis and it's like I'm done. I don't want to know. I didn't ask. Like, I don't care.
In comedy, I think in comedy it used to be like kind of a vibe. Like it was like, whoa, how crazy. Yeah. But now that it's so commonplace, I mean, I've heard, I don't want to say what, well, I'll bleep, but like I saw this girl do stand up like a few years ago and she fully ripped this. Muting her name because I don't want it to like be investigated. Like it was like, but I saw her rip a joke from her stand-up special at the Comedy Store, and it was like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, but it was like this really crass joke, and the only way she made it different was like she made it grosser, and I was like, what is going on?
Bring back the purity ring, bring back the chastity belt.
But now we're stealing other people's sex stories? Like, come on. She's too prolific to steal from.
Yeah.
She's too prolific to steal from. Don't ever steal.
It's very obvious.
I'm a huge fan of her. Also, I did a show with her, and she's actually so nice. Like, she was one of the few headliners that, like, came up to us and, like, gave us the time. Like, she went off in her own, like, green room or whatever, but, like, did come in and say hi to the comics. Like, headliners don't normally have to do that, but like she really gave the other female comics specifically like the time, and
that's really sweet.
That was one thing too that I was like really impressed with. I met I'm gonna bleep it because who cares, but like I met a few days ago.
I feel like from the reaction I just had to what she just said, you'll guess who it is.
Who this is.
The only comic I would ever go.
We've talked about it before on the podcast or in earlier episodes. So to the dedicated schoolies who want to sleuth and find out. But I met him, and I wasn't there within the context of like being invited by his team, but like my friend was.
Yeah.
And he really gave her the time and like knew she was a comic and stuff. And I was like, I was pleasantly surprised at like how much of a normal person, not NPC he was.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, this is anybody in a position of power who gives somebody who's coming up at the time. I have a lot of respect
he was cool.
for. He was cool. Yeah.
Okay, because I used to defend him, and people were like, "Why are you defending him?" Well, I just defended him because there was that whole thing where like people hated him just because of like physicality.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll go back to defending him.
Yeah.
I love being controversial. So
I was really impressed.
I loved what's it called? Amelia Perez. I was the only person that loved Amelia Perez.
That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
And I loved it. And then I was like, oh, is it kind of like normal to love it because everybody was shipping it? And then people hated it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's punk to like Amelia Perez.
Yeah.
I did like Amelia Perez. I don't speak Spanish. I love the shit out of that movie. I don't know what Selena Gomez was saying. I don't know. I don't have
Selena
no clue.
Gomez doesn't know what Selena Gomez was saying.
Thought she spoke the fuck out of that Spanish. I have no idea.
I
didn't know a
no one
thing.
actually saw the script of that movie. They were all sold like a different thing, and then they just came together and make it happen.
I think it was written by AI. I actually think it was written by AI. I think they took a script and they said, make this into, like, expand on this by, like, 60 pages, and out came Amelia Perez.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it takes human depravity to create that movie. and a French mind.
And a French mind.
And a French mind. I was so moved. Frank and I both loved it. We were like, are we crazy? We love that.
That's so on brand for you too. That's so on brand for you.
We love a musical.
Yeah.
We went to see the Snow White movie recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we went. We're some of the only people in the theater, obviously.
Yeah.
Two of the most hated women.
Stands.
Two of the most hated women in Hollywood, representing the world stage, honestly. And we halfway through we brought drinks in. We brought like hard kombuchas in, and I thought we were just gonna have like a drunk little night, like watching this movie.
And you're weeping.
And no, he leaned over and he was like, "The songs are really good." And I was like, "They are." I was like, "I'm enjoying myself." I thought it was gonna be like Bad Good, where you love to hate, and then I was like, "I'm having a great time."
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden we just like check your browser history, and it's like Rachel Ziegler fan club. Like
no,
yeah,
no. When she's singing, j'adore. When she's speaking, not so much. Not her views, just when I don't think she's a very good actress.
All right, so I think we're going to kick it off with some dating questions. So as I said, we have our super fan, Chris, as part of our 7% male audience here, who recently, we won't dive into the specifics of his life, but he's starting to dive back into the dating culture, and he wanted our perspective on some dating-related questions.
As I'm kind of getting back out there and getting back on the apps, I feel like as a guy, like I don't know. It's interesting to get the woman perspective. So we'd love to know what women are typically thinking about before the first date. Like what goes through your mind, like as you're like getting ready or like leading up to it. What's your headspace at?
I think we're gonna have two different answers to this. Mine is don't get your hopes up. Keep in mind that you will probably be disappointed. And just I'm thinking like. It also depends on the level of conversation we've had beforehand. So it's like if the banter's been good, I'm like, okay, I'm excited. But if it's been like pretty quick to then just like, let's meet up, I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting into. So I'm like, keep expectations low, you know?
Do you like vet those vibes before though? Do you like a FaceTime or a call or do you just like jump into it and like, all right, like. Sometimes
I'll do a call. I found there's very little conversion though. The conversion rate on calls to then dates are very little because I'm a ball buster, so it's like I think guys get very intimidated by the level of like openness I require off the bat. But Alana, I'd like to hear your take.
It's been a while since I've gone on a date, but I typically am very nervous because for me, attraction is a real crapshoot. Yeah. Because I have no type, and it's just like a vibe thing.
Totally.
So my biggest fear always before I go on a date is like, oh, I've had an attraction to this person via message. But my greatest fear is always like, I don't know what gives me the ick, and I don't know what I like. So it's like I'm always anxious about what it's weird because I'm really not shallow. Like I have liked a very wide array of people.
Yeah. She ain't got no type.
I ain't got no type. Truly. Like I would date someone who was 1 foot tall or who was no taller than 6'5", 6'4".
That's such
6'3".
an interesting take.
Yeah,
for
I've
me.
never heard someone put a cap on the height. I feel like there's always like a floor.
I
where
dated
it's
a guy
like,
once who was like 6'7", and I did not
just
like
like hanging
that.
off his shoulder. Like
I just remember, we were just talking about not being crass, but I just remember seeing his feet hanging off the end of my bed, and
those
icked
boats
the
are
shit out of me. I don't know why it icked the shit out of me. Icked me more than watching a man kick his little feet at a bar stool if his feet didn't reach the ground. I don't know. Because you laughed at my joke. I was playing to the audience. Jesus.
And I'm not
I'm-
offended that you'd think I'm too old to answer fucking questions, Jesse.
We need to generate also like hype around because you're just like an anonymous voice. Like,
Yeah.
don't show what he looks like. So girls are like, who is that?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing a girl loves more than an anonymous voice.
women like mystery, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we should hype that up.
Yeah.
And then like do a speed dating event.
Oh, can we sell you?
Yes.
Let's go.
But let me
like, we have
talk.
to hype it up
Let me talk to
first.
my pimp first. Let
We
me
have to
make sure
hype
it's
him up
okay.
first
to
as
hype
just
him
a
up first,
disembodied
yeah.
voice.
Okay, so you were saying you're more of like
Yeah,
a
it's-
texture, like big, like vibe and like energy, and I totally hear you. I feel like
It's a totally random thing. Like I've gone on dates with people where they were super conventionally attractive, but I don't know what it is, some way that they hold their mouth
You
or
got
like the
vibe
way they
fished.
speak where I was just like, I'm not actually attracted to you. So the fear for me was always like the translation from texting chemistry to physical chemistry because you just never know. Also, sometimes I've dated people where like they were really bold via message and then in person they're really shy. And I can't handle shyness because when I'm around shy people, I word vomit like crazy. And next thing you know, I'm talking about
wait, what do you
how-
mean like bold via text but shy in person? Like they actually have like personality.
Yeah,
via
they had
text?
personality via
that's
text, and then they were
happened to
very
me
nervous
before,
in
too.
person. I mean, I literally went on a date with this guy who was like that, where we had like incredible chemistry. I mean, this was also
What
I
if
was
he was
probably
just
like
GPT in his
19.
responses? Like,
No, this
I've
was
heard
like I
that's
was
a
like
thing.
19 years old,
Oh, okay,
so it was
this
like
is
Pre-chat GPT.
pre chat
gotcha.
GPT. But it was like this guy. We had great chemistry. We talking for so long, literally talking through the time I was like with my mom in Italy for a summer,
Wow.
and came home and was like had so much connection for like months, and he was so fucking shy. And after the date, he was like, he said the worst words a man can ever text after a date.
You remind me of my mother.
I wish close. I wish I had kissed you back then. I wish I'd kissed you. Wish you'd kissed me. I was just standing next to you. The fuck? So I hate that. Like
You're
that.
like, dude, did you read the messages? we
Because
used to
then it's
send?
like going it's
Yeah.
like going back to being like
Brand new.
it's showing that they are only comfortable behind the screen.
Yes.
Where like I'm super comfortable behind the screen, but
Well,
I'm
there's
also
no stakes behind like a text.
Yeah.
Other than just like whatever you're going to screenshot
Yeah.
and send to the group chat.
Yeah. And I give it some grace if you're nervous, but it's just like I need someone to say, like, I'm nervous. Like I'd prefer
Totally.
it if someone was like, oh, I'm really nervous right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really nervous. Then I'm like, oh, okay, we'll just shake that
So
off.
do you think
But
like men have a hard time being vulnerable that way? Just kind of like labeling what they're feeling?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good
Sorry,
to know.
that was mean.
Fellas, keep it real.
Hold on.
Keep it real.
Jesse, sitting like that, you kind of look like Elf on the Shelf. I mean, you can
Please don't
do
cut
it.
that.
I just wanted to let you know, as your producer.
There we go. Fellas, keeping it real. So I guess that kind of goes to my next question.
You're so lucky I didn't respond to that.
Okay, you made it past like the match. You had some conversation going. You're feeling pretty good. You get to the date. What do you notice first? Like their appearance or just like vibe and how they carry themselves?
Vibe and how they carry themselves.
Really?
Yeah,
It's kind of
100%.
a combo. I feel like it's a combo.
I-
It's a full package, right?
It's
like,
the full package, but I think as for me at least, I'm more likely to be like, okay, the exterior, like if I don't love your outfit, like if this works out and like we vibe, like I can always give you a makeover. But like I can't make over your vibe and I can't change your personality. Like
Right.
so that to me always stands out more. Cuz
I don't care. I don't care how you dress. You could wear a luchador mask, and if you have a good vibe, I don't care. I don't care how
Yeah.
a man dresses.
Yeah, that's what I'm
why
yeah.
are you as a man trying to dress?
Yeah. We talked about
dress.
this. We talked about the Get Ready With Me man on Frank's
Yeah, yeah.
episode. Like,
Yeah, the
like
Get
that
Ready With
is
Me, yeah.
that is an ick. Like when
Yeah.
the guys are like,
When it's like too much.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
when
take
it's
care
too
of your
much.
appearance, but like,
yeah,
yeah, I got
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
It's also how they treat me. I'm always impressed if a guy. I like chivalry. So if a guy gets up and
Chivalry makes
gives
me
you a
so
hug and please
uncomfortable.
take a seat and what can I get you, like that kind of thing, I'm always like already like, oh, okay, this is going well.
Do you
But-
do like the full like FBI background check?
No,
Before?
never.
Okay,
I have in
yeah.
the
No.
past, but I found that usually it's not to your benefit, girls. Like I know it's our inner instinct to do like the full. I will make sure, like if you're weirdly vague about your job, in a way that like kind of gives me a red flag, I will go on LinkedIn and make sure that you're like not a lying like psychopath. That's the extent of what I'll do.
fun.
But farther than
The
that,
employer in case anything
That's fun.
happens.
yeah, just
You
like
email his employer. Well, how's his performance been lately?
there because I've had some guys that have been like, you know, I'm buying a juice bar and me and my friend are going in.
That's
and
specific.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm creating a smoothie
that's a very
brand,
specific,
and I'm
type.
like, you work in like tech sales, like, which is fine, but like whatever this like side claim quest bullshit is, like,
Just keep it real.
just keep it real, yeah.
Totally.
So
Can I mention the date that I witnessed you on, like from my perspective?
Oh yeah, the day that
Okay.
the date that I
This
made
is-
you guys
okay.
crash.
So there
this
was
was
this-
early on in our friendship too. You were a real
So
one for showing up.
Jesse, I think we were gonna meet up later
Yeah.
anyway, but she was like, just come here, like I'm having a terrible time on this date. So my friends and I all came and we all practiced our individual acting chops because we literally, I'm not kidding, like walked past her and went,
We were like,
Jesse? What are you doing here?
No
Oh my God, no way.
Such a good sell.
Grace really killed it.
Grace
Grace really killed it. My
killed
friend
it.
Grace Johnson really killed
like,
it.
where was this? Was this like a nice restaurant?
Chucho.
El Chucho in Venice.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So like totally
Yeah.
makes sense to have the girls come.
We all did a great job. The guy was none the wiser. But the crazy thing to me was like, maybe speaks to my shallowness, but like I walked in, I was like, oh, he's like very handsome. And she was like, yeah, he's really boring. And I was like, but he's really handsome. I was like, he's just quiet and shy. But I was very impressed because she really does practice what she preaches in terms of like what she's looking for. Because Grace and I were both like, I mean,
fuck him. I was like, I couldn't. Like, you couldn't pay me. Like,
I was like, not even just for a good time.
No,
Like he was very, very good looking guy. And wasn't like a freak. He was just quiet. He was very
it could have
quiet.
just been
It was like pulling
nerves,
teeth.
like I don't know.
I don't care. Sack
And
up.
It kind of gave the impression that he just is that
Does he
way.
just like get by on his good looks kind of thing?
Yeah, and he was like a DJ. I was like,
Oh, that's
he was a
classic.
DJ.
yeah. He had a regular job, but he was like pursuing DJing. Like that was his
Oh.
passion.
See, I feel
DJing.
like he probably there was more to him.
If I had a
don't know.
nickel for the amount of guys I've met that are like trying to be a DJ on the side, I think I could put the U.S. men out of business.
See,
It's
I
like,
feel
it's
that way
ridiculous.
about women. I feel like every woman is trying to be a DJ now, but I don't know.
I'm supportive of
Everyone
that.
is trying to be a DJ. Everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas me, don't ever hand me the aux cord. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I have this.
I've been listening to the same album since
Same.
2013.
Same. I have the same playlist. It's called "It's Giving Slay Bitch," and I just play that on repeat.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I just listened to songs from when I was in high school and like I'm like, ugh, the good old days. When everything still felt. You know when music used to hit? Can't recall.
I was gonna say, oh, when the Palisades was still.
Yeah. No, literally.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
I've been listening to all my old music and thinking about the Palisades. Anyway, we can't talk about the F word.
Well, I guess like kind of back to your earlier point of like not necessarily going down like the full FBI rabbit hole. I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting hearing because I think from a guy's perspective, I don't typically do that because I don't want to go to the date with preconceived notions. Like I kind of want to.
And why would you want to see their ex? Like, why would you want to
Well,
go
some people
to
like
to
they
the
like
degree?
scrub their IG, like they pull
No, but
stuff
like
down.
I
But
know
even
people.
still, though, like-
I know girlfriends who do the FBI thing, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is what his ex looks like." I'm like, "Why the fuck would you
I
want
don't
to go
wanna
into
know.
this dating
Yeah.
situation with this girl's face in your mind?" And then you're comparing, like, "Well, is this his type?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I would never want to see the ex before going
No,
on a
I
date.
never wanna know.
ever."
Unless she's like, I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
I mean, it could be helpful. I don't know because I feel like there are some guys that like. I guess as a woman, like there's just like the risk is so much higher. Like you might get some like weird fetish guy that's like, like likes a certain type or like likes weird things. So maybe you'd kind of get that.
His ex girlfriend's a foot.
Could be.
I don't
I don't know.
she
don't care.
identifies as a foot.
Yeah.
It's different.
Oh, okay. Here's a good one. So I feel like, as I've been on like Instagram and stuff, like people like there's various takes on this whole like chalant, nonchalant. So what is your take on like, is there a thing as being like too chill or too eager after
I
a
hate
first date?
chillness. I hate chillness.
So you want someone to just like jump right in? Like,
Yeah,
what's the difference
I'd
between,
rather
like-
you run the risk of being strange than run the risk of being boring, honestly.
Yeah,
Rather
she's
you be-
changed my opinion on
Yeah.
this. I used to be, I think in my more like avoidant attachment era, I sought out people who were chill because it was, I felt like I was chasing and that was like a high that I like, I
Right, like
I
they were
wanted,
the prize.
Yeah, I wanted their approval. I wanted it to make them not chill about me. But now, and this is something that Alana has kind of taught me through our friendship and like opened my eyes to, that's actually like that's a deficit on my part. That was what I was seeking. I think it's better to have somebody who is strange and like off the bat, like very clearly into you.
But like when you say it's strange, like just being like pretty forward, like, hey, like, we'd love to see you again. Like that was really great.
Oh
It's
no,
like,
that's not even what I mean by strange. That's just like
I was
that's
just
just
saying,
normal.
that just sounds like normal
No, that's
communication.
normal. What I
That's
mean is
normal.
like, you know, if you were making the wrong jokes and like being really kind of like off color or wild in some way. I mean, like I've gone on dates with people who are like really nervous and will be like, like kind of like, you know, jerky and straight. I prefer that to being just like super buttoned up because you're afraid to make an ass of yourself.
Oh yeah, so you're
Because
just saying.
I mean, give me a glass of wine and I'm going to start being strange in my own way and like being, you know, maybe too open or whatever.
So I think we're talking about a couple different things. I feel like you're talking about like someone that's more comfortable just kind of being in their own skin and like
yeah,
not
or just
worried
not afraid
about like
to make
what
a
your judgment
make
might
a wrong
be.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they
Or
just gotta be
versus,
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus trying to be chill.
Right.
Like trying
right.
to be like, yeah, I want her to think I'm like really like if it's a practice, what is it, Keida?
I'm wondering, like, if your guy brought a parrot or like a pet, like a pet lizard, like on his shoulder, would that be too strange?
If it was in a fucking bar or restaurant, I'd be like, okay, you're an attention seeker, and also get that baby out of here. They don't like loud noises.
What about pet hermit crabs?
Pet hermit crab. Again, these
What
are
is
all
he, shoving
things.
it up his ass?
Yeah, these are all
What
things-
why are you a grown
These
man
are
with
all
a pet
things
hermit
where
crab?
if I came over
Right?
to your house and you had these things, I'd be like, oh my god, this is cool. I have a snake. I love this. We
Yeah.
sound like a very good match. If you brought those things to a bar, I would think that you had a desperate need for attention. And that you're going to be competing with me for who can be the biggest clown in the relationship. And I don't like that.
So you like to be the biggest clown?
I like to be the biggest clown.
All right, that's fair.
But to your earlier point about like post texting chalant
Yeah.
versus non,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
post date nonchalant
Oh,
chalant.
yeah.
I am of the mind that I don't want you to be nonchalant because it's like then you're not really interested in me,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
and then why am I going to be seeking and chasing someone that isn't really giving me the time of day?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like they're recognizing my worth, and so I think it's like I've recently this is actually very recent. This is an interesting question. I've gone on a few first dates recently where from the apps, and it was great time. And then I took Alana's advice and I followed up with like, I had a great time. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah,
And
I always text like that night or the next morning.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, what's like
I
your
always
follow-up?
text and I
When
say,
you're, like,
if it was a good
home or-
time, I say
yeah.
that was really great. Let me know when you're free this next week or
Oh,
whatever.
so you'll take lead and be like, hey, I want to see you
Yes,
again.
because the thing is, if they don't respond immediately, I mean, if they've already texted me, like gold star,
Right.
But
Right.
if they wait, then I'm like, oh, you're a game player. I have no interest in game playing.
Yep.
Because the thing is, this idea that you have to wait, this period of like waiting and not seeming too eager, I personally think if I texted a guy and he got that text from me and was like, oof, too desperate, you're not interested in me. And 2 weeks down the road, when I'm this full on and asking you to make plans and
Right.
trying to, you're gonna get sick of me anyway. So why not just rip that Band-Aid off now? If you
I
find
respect
that being
takes
too
so
desperate,
much. I feel like people get like too like in their head about like
The
texting
games are
It's
crazy.
like I'm an
No.
adult. If I see the text and my
Yeah.
phone's in my hand, I'm gonna just respond.
life's short. Come
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
just send a
Like,
message.
who's got
Let's
time
set
for
up a
this?
next time and
For
see
real.
if we actually even like each other. People have forgotten it's about courtship. We don't know if we're gonna like each other.
Exactly.
We don't know if we're gonna vibe. Why prolong the process of figuring out whether or not we even like each other?
100%.
Psychotic.
I
Yeah.
do think sometimes like it is worth sleeping on it though, because I've definitely had some dates where I'm like, all right, like it was good, but like let me kind of like think about how I feel, and then I'll do like a text the next morning.
Yeah, well, the next morning, I'm not saying you have to rush home and be like, okay, I have to text
You
now.
have to, like,
But I'm just
immediately
But
FaceTime?
waiting a few days, I think
Honestly,
is
love that energy.
the thing. You know, there's times where I've gone on a date and I've been on the fence, and it's almost been like not a test, but I'm like, let's see if he texts me. He was
Yeah.
kind of not giving me a lot of like, I want to see. I don't want to overextend myself. It was a good date, wasn't great. Let's see. If the guy texts me the next day, I'll probably go on another date because I'm like, I appreciate the initiative.
Yeah.
If he texts me 2 days later, I'm probably already like, I don't like games.
Yeah, I don't like games.
Because what it's become is like, nah, I don't want to see you too desperate. It's
Yeah.
like
Well,
this
or it's also
weird
like
vibe.
people make these weird assumptions where it's like, oh, like they're texting me too quickly. Like, are they not busy? And it's like everyone's fucking busy. Like I'm just
Yeah.
making you a priority because I'm
It
interested.
takes 3 seconds
yeah,
to send
exactly.
a
Like
text.
chill.
You think I'm sitting in my room being like,
I mean, for the right
Sometimes.
person. For the right person.
yeah, sometimes
you
I
know?
am doing that. But
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, you were telling a story though, and I cut you off.
I don't even remember. What
A
I'm
date?
saying.
You were saying you went on a date.
Oh, I went
You
on a date
texted-
with
yeah.
a guy. I texted him right after. I said, that was great. I would love to see you again. And he was like, yeah, let's do something again soon. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna reach out again unless you make the initiative, because I already opened communication lines post-date, and then he never hit me up again. And I was like, that's fine. Like, now we know. I'm not interested.
Exactly. Now
I'm
we know.
not, you know, we're good. Like, that's fine.
So I guess like my last thing, like in your experience as women, like do you find that you're typically the one that has to kind of close the loop after the first date, or do you find guys are like pretty good about just being like, hey, like I only got like a friend vibe, or is it ghosting?
Oh no, it's mutual ghost.
Mutual ghosting?
It's always mutual ghosting. There's never, men are not communicating clearly or coherently.
So if you were to give advice to some guys out there, like what would you say to our male audience?
I think mutual ghosting's fine. Like if it's one date, like.
No, I was just gonna say the one thing that I won't allow is ghosting. There's also different scenarios, right? If we go on one date, then that's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah. If we've been seeing each other or been on a few dates,
different.
I will not allow you to ghost me. Because I remember this one message I sent where this guy he just kept like breadcrumbing, and we had been out a few times, and like, you know, whatever. He'd really like love bomb the shit out of me. So he kept like breadcrumbing. So finally I said, hey, you've been giving me the runaround for a couple weeks now after kind of moving hot and heavy. So I would appreciate it if you could have the strength and maturity to respond to this message and tell me that you're not interested, because I find it pretty lame that you're choosing to string me along rather than just being direct.
Right.
And I think it would be the right thing to do, to just respond to this message. I can take, you know, it's not that I can't take a hint, but like I want you to say to me and be an adult and tell me, sorry, I'm not really, you know, give me whatever fucking excuse you want. I'm not in a place right now. I just started the program.
Work is just so busy.
Like whatever. Yeah, I'm just really busy.
Equinox has just really been taking all my time.
But he didn't respond to that message. But it's still, for me, like that's how I close the loop.
But his non-response is like an answer.
Have the decency, the human decency to just respond to other people as you would a friend, like whoever, you know.
Right? It's so funny that like I feel like everyone always. Like I've had guys that are on like the same, like on the other side of that text message, or like, you know, girlfriends are like on the other side of the text message, and it's like, if everyone would just like communicate and like say how they're feeling, like people wouldn't have to be playing these games.
And
but
to be
everyone's
fair,
like so afraid to just be like, hey, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and to be fair, I have ghosted people, and I have even done it in those circumstances. I've felt really horrible about it, and I know it's a pretty lame behavior. Like there's no part of me that's like trying to make excuses for it.
Honestly, though, it depends on the connection. Like I've definitely had a few dates where like we kind of just like, as we were walking back to our cars, we're like, we're not going to see each other after
but if you've been seeing someone for a minute and it's like been any kind of thing, I've done that, and it's pretty horrible. Ultimately, ghosting comes from a place of being uncomfortable with yourself, uncomfortable with your inability to be honest and to be open about how you're feeling, and like that anxiety overwhelms you until you can't respond. So I understand it, but breadcrumbing is annoying.
Yeah, I don't tolerate breadcrumbing at all. I will not. That's just not my MO. I'm a very like, and this is something I've had to get better at as I've gotten older, like black and white thinker. And you're either into me or you're not. And like that for me needs to be made very clear. Otherwise I'm like, you're wasting my time. You're wasting my energy. Like I am so busy now with everything going on with the podcast, with my day job, with stand-up. Like I see it as a sign of disrespect when somebody is not being straight up or making their intentions known, and like breadcrumbing in specific where it's like, oh, I'd love to see you, no response. Like that to me is just like, you see me as a like NPC moving through the world with like no plans, no timeline, like no
it's
goals.
almost like they want like that little bit of validation, and they want the like orbiters.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like they give themselves this like illusion of options, and it's like you're just kind of being
a lot
shitty.
of people want fans. A lot of people want to generate this reality where like
damn, that's a quote.
People are interested in them. They have fans. I mean, there's so many people I've seen, like so many scenarios that I can think of right now of dynamics where people are not cutting things off, but they enjoy talking about how someone is crazy or pursuing them, or like this person won't leave me alone.
Right. Like they like
and then
the
you
drama.
kind of like witness the interaction, or you see some text that they show you and you're like, well, you're not really being clear that you're not interested. So you're enjoying the experience of having a fan.
So as you know, the male audience representative here, what's some advice you want to give to your guy fans? Like, what are some things that we could do better that you've just like seen or heard from your friends that like, if like more guys knew this, like they'd either be more successful or just like the dating experience for the collective would be better?
I think we touched on it. I think it's like, if you really like someone and you're like interested in them in like a real way, like make that known. Like, and because again, you're prolonging the not knowing, right? It's like connection. I feel like because we're so addicted to our phones, like we have almost like a surplus of connections. You can keep in touch with somebody from college, from high school, like, but in real life connections feel very few and far between. So when you find them and they are real, jump, go for it. Don't be afraid to don't fall into the narrative that you need to play games, because I think that is the biggest problem with the internet dating culture right now, is this need for, not to seem too desperate, not to seem too aloof, not this. It's like, to Alana's point, just be straight up about it. I think you're really interesting. I really want to get to know you. And lay your cards out on the table. I think the right person, the right woman is going to see that and be like, wow, this actually is pretty bold of a guy. Like that's not commonplace for most men to do. The right person's going to be like, oh, wow, this is really attractive that somebody has like the balls to step up and be forthright. The wrong person's going to take that the wrong way. So that'll be your answer in and of itself. I think there's no greater place of power or masculinity, in my opinion, when a guy is confident enough in himself to lay out how he's feeling and what he thinks or how he feels about you. I think that's a really attractive quality. And sometimes, you as the woman may not feel the same way, but like, I will always have respect for a guy for making the effort to let me know where they're at.
Just being transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to that point, I mean, this is kind of for men, for women, like, you will always be, if you're communicating truly and sincerely your honest feelings about things and being authentic, you will always be the victor no matter what. Like, too much of dating these days feels like winning and losing. You will always be the victor if you're just true to who you are and you're honest. Even if you are in the presence, even if you do that with the wrong person, kind of like what Jesse's saying, and someone gives you, the wrong response and they're like, oh my God, you're being so desperate or anything like that, you're still the victor, because if you're being true to yourself, then, and I would just like to see more men behaving in that way. And I mean, somebody has to, like, either the women
gotta sack up.
Either women need to start being that way or men need to start being that way, or preferably both at the same time, because it's just a culture that's kind of cannibalizing itself at this point, of both sides not being authentic and honest. So if men want to lead the charge and be more authentic and honest, then please. Can you impart that to all of them?
Yeah, can you impart that to all of them? Yeah.
I'll give them a call.
Yeah, can you go on Bumble Friends and just start
Guys, I have the playbook.
Authenticity.
You heard it here.
Yeah, just start sending them the link to this episode.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for submitting your questions. Keep them coming. tinyurl.com/night school advice. We will answer them on the pod. We also have a hotline now, 310-987-7511. Leave a message and we will get back to you with some advice. Okay, so here we go. How do you show a new sexual partner that you're not enjoying it without being a dick about it and killing the mood? Like, if they say some weird, dirty talk and you don't want to reject them in the moment, but you also don't want them to think that they're doing a great job and that you're into it. Faking an orgasm is one thing, but faking foreplay feels tough.
Wow.
I think the simplest response to that is, like, maybe not in the moment, but then have a conversation. You can open a conversation being like, sit down, have a glass of wine, be like, what are you into? You know what I'm really not into? Dirty talk that sounds like a baby, or like whatever it is, But in the moment, it's very easy to yuck someone's yum. But if you have a conversation, I feel like outside of the context of being naked, sometimes that helps.
Yeah, or just like after. I think you can just like start off being like, what are you into? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like in a separate removed situation from the actual encounter. If it's like an ongoing thing,
Yeah.
it sounds like. I think opening up a fun conversation about what you're into.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're already that intimate with someone, like, hopefully you can be comfortable, like, just talking about it. And I also think, like, depending on the dynamics of the relationship, at least, like, speaking from a guy's perspective, like, we can be pretty dumb and just like assume certain things. And I think we get a lot of value if like a woman is just like, hey, like this is what I like and don't like. Like just give me the IKEA furniture manual and like I can follow a set of instructions. You know, like
great.
it's really not
That's a
hard.
great perspective.
Yeah.
No, I think that's helpful to know because I think a lot of women struggle with that because they don't want to.
And also sometimes saying what I do like is a good way to steer away from what I don't like.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can do it in a
Like, oh my God,
positive
when
way.
you do this is great.
Yeah.
Less of the other thing and more of this thing.
Yeah, I just think like in a lot of relationships, like people's, or at least for like men, like I think our exposure to like sex and sex education is porn and everything's like pornification.
Yeah.
So you see these certain things and you're just like, oh, like this is just what I'm supposed to do. Like women are supposed to like this.
Yeah.
And like, I think it just gets people into a lot of trouble or just,
I think men need to stop watching porn. That's
they need to start reading smut,
Yeah,
I
hot
think is what
take.
you're saying.
No more.
Read more smut.
Read Alana's book, Hardly Strangers Now, on at 831stories.com. We've been plugging it nonstop. Yeah, I agree. I think men actually need to read more smut. I actually think that would greatly benefit them and the overall just like general education of the society. But I think I always find like that conversation should usually like, and also too like, hot take, everybody, sex for the first time with a person is always gonna not be great. Like that's just it. Like it's unless you're drinking and you're like not clear-headed, which I also wouldn't really recommend. Like
sometimes
Sometimes it
it's
just
great.
hits, not gonna lie.
Sometimes it's great, but like fewer and far between. I mean, it's just like you're getting to know.
have some grace for awkwardness.
That's
There's
what I
like
mean.
really bad where you're like, oh, like I've had bad where it's like, oh, this isn't going anywhere. Like this is that was it for me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, like if he puts on the compression boots after, it's kind of
That
might be kinda weird.
Those hyper
Actually, for me, I
tubes.
feel like I'd be like, go off. That's kind of my vibe,
He's
honestly.
like, yeah, that was just a great performance for me.
Pulls
you know?
out like an infrared mat for me and puts on
But
like
I've had
the
a
boots.
guy
And I'm like,
stretch after sex, and that was just the ultimate ick. Like I can't even tell you.
Was he out here doing like the cat cows or like
No.
shavasana?
naked cat cows. Holy shit.
He's just opening his third eye, you know?
Oh my God. Although if a guy was like, I need to go sun my perineum now, I'd
You'd
be like,
nice.
can I join you?
Yeah.
That sounds kind of fun.
so on brand for you.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's a conversation. I think you have to also just give grace for awkwardness.
Yeah. There's a difference between bad and awkward.
That's what I mean. I think
Yeah.
awkward,
Totally.
not bad. Like I think hot take. Let me rephrase. Hot take. It's always going to be awkward a little bit for the first time.
Yeah.
And then it's the conversation following to like let them know like what you're into, what you're not. And to your point, more so letting them know what you are into. And then like I think it's on the guy too to like ask questions too. Like, oh, so if you're into this, are you into that? And then you can be like, yeah, no, whatever.
Yeah.
Like make it a discourse. Like don't just be like, especially for the guys too. I
So
think
you
the
should always
guys
try not to shame. I really feel you should try not to shame
Yeah,
people
I really
with
like your
sexuality stuff.
take on like the positive direction of like giving them the
because
like,
shaming
green light for
someone,
certain things,
shaming someone in the moment can like scar them permanently.
Totally,
for
totally.
sure.
I agree. Chris, our male,
Thank you,
you did a
Chris.
fantastic job.
You should
Thanks
come
for
back
having
and
me.
hang out.
Stoked to be here.
Come back anytime. Thank you guys for joining. Like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, give our viral Jason Earls TikTok a watch and a share. We were picked up on E! News and Entertainment Weekly. Woohoo!
Woo!
So that was super exciting. And we thank you guys so much for the support. Tell your friends about the podcast. It's the #1 way podcasts get around. And we'll see you guys next time.